Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, what's in a name? For the Anatole Rogers High School, a strong legacy in education. Hear the posthumous tribute to the trailblazer after which the school is named. Could there be a breakthrough in strained relations between the government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority? The answer is straight ahead. And the passing of the torch in Marathon. Hear about the F&M succession plan and the role women will play in it. All those stories and more straight ahead in the Bahamas tonight.
Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news tonight, the government is creating a special register featuring outstanding educators so that generations to come will have tangible memorials of their contributions in the field of education. In another of a series of tributes, posthumous honors were given to a woman who made a big statement for women in education. Shenique Miller has more on today's event, which drew a former Governor General, among others.
It's only 3 years old, but the Anatole Rogers High School has already made an impression, starting with its name. Today, the junior and senior high school was officially named after the first Bahamian woman to head the government high school, a woman who had some of the country's most noted citizens sit in her classroom as students.
She was my teacher, she was my principal, and I can tell you that she not only loved the road, but dignified, and a stately bearing, and a kind, gracious demeanor. She also had the intellect to bring academic rigor to the classroom and the presence to put our students at ease so that we wanted to please her by doing our best at all times.
Anatole Rogers High School is a gem among government schools. Built in 2008, the $16.2 million campus houses 1,260 students and 89 teachers. Students on the massive 76,000 square foot campus have the option of 2 magnet programs, pre-engineering and information technology. Students have participated in and won local and international awards in various disciplines. Works Minister Neko was very involved in the construction phase, seeing that every detail, some quite intensive, was attended to.
As an example, during site preparation, more than $330,000 was expended for the removal of abandoned and derelict vehicles and other dumped debris from the construction site.
This is one of those state-of-the-art campuses, perhaps the largest in the country, and one built by the Ingraham administration in the last 5 years. There are 35 classrooms, 4 specialty classrooms, 3 science labs, 3 music labs, a clothing lab, and a food lab. And there's more.
A technical workshop, 2 technical drawing classrooms, 2 computer labs, 1 library, 4 sets of male-female student restrooms, a teacher's lounge, an administrative section, a tuck shop, covered walkways, and outdoor sporting facilities.
Prime Minister Ingraham says the stately campus couldn't have been a better fit for an educator who not only drove her students to excel, but backed it up with a reputation of no tolerance for mediocrity.
We believe this outstanding educator was due to have this modern, state-of-the-art edifice named in her honor.
Anatole Rogers is the latest campus to be named or renamed in the government's month-long initiative to recognize those outstanding Bahamians who lent their talents toward nation building. Prime Minister Ingraham says these campuses will now be a permanent reminder to thank the men and women for their life's work. Today's naming ceremony was historic in that it's the first time a father and daughter have their names immortalized on public school buildings. Anatole was the daughter of C.H. Reeves, a man with a junior high school named in his honor. Shenique Miller, ZNS News.
There have been a few close calls as inmates made the twice-daily trip between the prison and the courts, but now that a new remand court is in place, that risk associated with prisoner transport will be significantly reduced along with court delays. Carla reports on today's opening.
National Security Minister Tommy Turnquesta says the government made a policy position to demarcate the court by having the property separated legally.
As a result of having this court here, we have had to secure the premises away from the prison. That has had the added additional benefit of providing an eastern perimeter security fencing for the prison as well. And so one way that the prison is now very, very secure is on this eastern flank.
$687,000 is what's been spent on the entire process, which includes constructing a new road. The public can now access the court from Yamakra Road. Minister Turnquesta highlighted the benefits of the court's location at the prison.
Apart from the annoyance caused to communities as the convoy of police escort and prison bus make their way to and from court, it has been costing the public significant sums of money and puts the safety of inmates, law enforcement officers, and the general public at risk.
Attorney General John Delaney further explained the court process when persons on remand are brought to court.
When the detainees come to this court, they will no longer be detained by the prison guards, by the prison overseers. When they get here, it will be the court marshals or the police assisting. But they will no longer be under the supervision of the prison overseers.
Construction of the new remand court began last year, July. It also shares space with the electronic monitoring tagging center.
The benefit of that is beyond remand hearing. When we need expert witnesses or any other witness to participate in the giving of evidence in a criminal trial, there's no need now to bring them physically to the court in every instance. They can be at another location, whether it's in the Bahamas, in Freeport, Grand Bahama, or they may be outside of the country.
All that's needed now to begin operations here at this new remand court is a sitting magistrate. And according to officials, that decision by judicial process will take place very soon. Carla Palmer, ZNS News.
Authorities are confident that the new remand court will assist in the fast-tracking of court cases. With the court now just steps away from the prison compound, Attorney General John Delaney is looking for the backlog of cases to be significantly reduced.
We have had a challenge. When I say we, the criminal justice system has had a challenge for quite a while in getting the persons, the detained individuals and the prisoners to court on time. Because it's a massive logistical operation. It's not just the bus speeding through the streets and sirens blaring that inconvenience the public. It's all the work that must be done by the prison overseers, the police, and because it takes so many security personnel, sometimes it does not happen in a timely manner so that they're not in their place to be able to get into court in time. When there is that delay, court cannot start on time. Now, when you have a court hearing, you have a judge, you have prosecutors, you have defense counsel, you have court marshals, you have other witnesses, all of whom are there, and court can't start. Well, in those cases where the evidence is going to happen from this facility, that will not happen. Because the whole logistical security operation that I've just described, that is not going to happen.
The government is involved in talks to try and help Atlantis and international lenders reach an amicable solution over outstanding debt. Prime Minister Ingraham says workers at the resort have no need to fear, though, losing their jobs, as the government is there to support them and see to it that the resort continues to operate successfully. Shenique Miller has details.
Addressing what he termed a lot of misinformation in the media, Prime Minister Ingraham says it's important for the government to keep the workers of Atlantis and the people of the Bahamas informed. But it's equally important at this tender stage in the talks to proceed with caution, restraint, clear thinking, and calm heads.
It would be inappropriate, therefore, and unhelpful for me to speak on this matter day in and day out, and to seek to conduct your business in public view.
Drawing on just how Atlantis found itself buried in more than $2 billion in debt, Prime Minister Ingraham reflected on a PLP decision in 2006, where he said the Christie administration approved for Atlantis to borrow billions of dollars and use Atlantis as collateral. To make matters worse, Mr. Ingraham said the $2.3 billion loan was a short-term one to be paid off in 5 years.
Not possible. We all know that, we have to get 20 and 25 and 30-year mortgages to pay for our houses. That's right. But it was expected at the time that they would be able to get somebody else or another set of lenders to lend them money to pay off the first set of lenders. That is not to be.
Now, just what are the bankers and lenders involved in the Atlantis standoff thinking at this point? Well, Mr. Ingraham says you can bet their options do not include closing the resort. Here's why.
The bank has an interest in making sure it can get its money back. The people who lend money to Atlantis have an interest in making sure they can get their money back. So it is in their interest to make sure Atlantis succeeds and makes money so that they can eventually get their money back.
On the issue of job security and those 8,000 Bahamians employed, Mr. Ingraham said his government backs those workers and are there for them.
Have no fear. No jobs are being lost. The lenders will come to terms amongst themselves. In the meantime, until something happens between the lenders, Mr. Keishla still owns Atlantis. He's still running Atlantis. We were happy with him last year. We're happy with him today. And so I say to you, pay no mind to them. Pay no attention to them. We have your back, and we have your best interests at heart, and we are connected, we are involved, we are engaged, and you can put your trust in us.
Shenique Miller, ZNS News.
Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, the passing of the torch in the FNM camp. We'll have that story after the break.